From Asia to the world, we uncover the most exciting tech stories driving global innovation. I'm Sherian in Tokyo.
And I'm Annabelle Drewlers in Hong Kong. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on South Korea's Samsung Electronics. It's the Kospi's heaviest weighted stock and the world's top-selling smartphone maker. IDC data shows Samsung on top in the first quarter, but neck and neck with Apple and phone shipments with roughly 1/5 market share each. And Chinese phone makers are also closing in.
We visited Samsung's headquarters in Suwon, South Korea, and spoke with the president and COO of their mobile division, Won-Joon Choi.
Samsung Digital City is the beating heart of Samsung Electronics, a sprawling hub the size of 250 football fields. It houses more than half the company's R&D staff, bringing to life some of its most popular products.
It all began with these black and white TVs more than half a century ago. They dominated the Korean market in the post-war years. Since then, Samsung's built everything from kitchen appliances to PCs to chips and, of course, mobile phones.
And it's the popularity of its new foldable smartphones the company's banking on as it tries to offset the pressure on the all-important chip business.
I think our approach for this generation was such that we don't want to sacrifice anything, because you want to make it thinner, then obviously battery capacity is one of the issues, and also how we're going to actually make sure it's durable enough. When you actually design a device thinner, obviously you can only use less metal, which can make a device less durable. But we actually not only just we actually start with all this redesign of components, structure, even the materials. That's how we didn't do any sort of compromise in terms of durability and also performance while making this device thinner and lighter.
How successful do you expect this new generation to be? Do you have an idea of whether you could break record sales?
We do have a very high confidence that we can do better than the previous years, and then we'll as I mentioned, this is just the beginning of making these foldables mainstream.
How does Samsung think about competition? Because you have also so many Chinese makers coming out with foldables with good cameras.
Rather than focusing on competition, I think we have been focusing on our consumers. What are the experience that we can bring to the consumers and how complete they are? So we've been focusing on those. And I think healthy competition with other companies, I think will bring more innovations and then bring more benefits to consumers. So we are welcoming kind of others to join this category, which we created back in 2019.
When we see the pressure on Samsung semiconductors and we see the success in mobile, does that change your thinking about how heavy your shoulders are at this point?
No, I mean, our pressure has been there for all the time. I mean, nothing has changed. And I think there's I think Samsung is one of the companies who has every aspect of this supply chain, not only from the components to all the way to the devices and also application and services. So we believe there will be a big synergy we can have across all these different business units, and we'll continue to kind of utilize this complete ecosystem that we have.
This is the flip phone, and this is the first time that in a foldable you put your Exynos chips as well. How significant is that for Samsung as a whole?
Choosing a chipset for a device, I think we do have a very rigorous kind of process and very complicated kind of equations. And we look at not only performance, power consumption, but also kind of regional aspects of the consumer requirements. And looking at all these dynamics, we always try to choose the best one for the device and for the consumers. So it's not so much about Qualcomm or Exynos. It is about how we're going to deliver our best experience using the right chipset platform for our consumers.
You expect the Exynos 2600 chip for next year as well?
I think we'll consider every options, and then we'll go through all this regular kind of chipset selection process as we have been doing for the next year as well. And then whichever actually gives us the best performance, best experience to our consumers, we'll choose that one.
Samsung is also weighing options on how to best deal with the global trade environment as it faces potentially higher costs from tariffs.
Let's talk a little bit about the tariff concerns around the world, because President Trump says that potentially there could be a 25% tariff on Samsung phones not produced in the United States. How are you preparing for that?
Very good question and tough one. So Samsung has long established multiple manufacturing facilities in key regions around the world. That kind of gives us a flexibility in dealing with or responding to any changes in other countries' kind of trade policies, not just the US. So we have established that kind of a flexible system. And in regard to this potential tariff by the new US government administration, there are a lot of still uncertainties.
We have seen that deal that at least brings down the threats of tariffs from more than 40% to 20% for Vietnam, which is a huge manufacturing base for Samsung. How do you see the developments and how much of a benefit could that be? Or does it still hurt because it's still higher than it was originally at average 3%?
These new tariff policies obviously are very challenging to us in terms of business, and about the Vietnam. Obviously, the lower the better, but also, as I mentioned, we do have multiple locations, multiple manufacturing capabilities, and over the past few months, we've been working very hard to make sure the products that are bound to U.S. can be manufactured in any of the locations. Not any, but in multiple locations. So depending on, so we're looking at the Vietnam, but also we're looking at Korea, India. I mean, what will be the final tariffs? So as I mentioned, we're going to just do a lot of optimization according to the final numbers. But the lower, the better.
Is that easy to adjust production?
That we have been working very hard to make sure once you make that decision, that can happen really quick. So we've been doing a lot of preparation.
When it comes to those costs, at what point does Samsung decide you have to actually pass it on to consumers?
That is also a very, very difficult question. And also how we're going to, I think we'll definitely look at how the industry is evolving and how this tariff situation evolves. I think we'll make some adjustment accordingly.
The experience in the devices, especially with artificial intelligence, would you be willing to take new chances and opportunities with, say, integration of ChatGPT that we've been hearing about?
So with the S25, we, as I mentioned, we integrate AI agents at the system level. We built that system, and then Gemini from Google was the first agent that we integrate deeply into our Galaxy devices. And I can tell you that we already kind of tell the world that Gemini will not be the only AI assistant we're going to integrate with our Galaxy. We're going to integrate multiple AI assistants or AI agents with this framework that we built. And
which includes conversations with ChatGPT.
It could be anything. It could be anything as long as these AI agents are competitive and AI agents can provide best user experiences. We are open to any ideas.
How far along are the discussions?
We're talking to multiple vendors. I think at the time of S26, you're going to see more.
Perplexity AI fits into those conversations too?
Anything, as I mentioned, Perplexity, others, I mean, any AI agents out there in the industry, whichever provides the best experience with our Galaxy, to Galaxy users, we'll be open to integrating those.
But the fact that you're saying we're going to get a decision by S26.
You will see, in addition to Gemini, you will see more at the time of S26.
Why does a bigger mix of AI developers make sense for Samsung?
So we really want to make our consumers we'll give these choices to the consumers. Whichever agents they love or whichever agents makes most sense to them, we want to actually give the choice to them. So we're not going to force our Galaxy just to choose one or another. We'll provide the multiple choices to them and then let them decide.
You've had a very long relationship with Google. Will this change that?
No, Google, we have been working very closely with Google ever since we launched our smartphone with Android. And this relationship actually has gotten stronger with this AI integration.
What is your strategy inside of China when it comes to these AI models?
China is very special. You know, Samsung is one of the companies that has a ability to deliver the products at the truly global kind of level. But also, we also believe that we need to do a lot of we have a deep commitment to localization as well. So China, we definitely have an R&D center there. And then we do a lot of partnership with the local Chinese vendors in regard to not only the models, but also AI solutions and services. So we have been working with a lot of them, actually, to provide the best experience to our people in China.
And up next, Susquehanna's Mehdi Hosseini joins us with his outlook for Samsung's chip division and explains why he's maintaining a neutral rating on the company. More ahead. This is Bloomberg Tech Asia. Well, Samsung Electronics has faced challenges on multiple fronts the past few years. Its stock, you can see here, is underperforming the Kospi index so far this year. Its latest preliminary earnings report as well saw profit halve, led by deepening problems in its chips division. Its main rival in the DRAM space, that's SK Hynix, has snatched the top market share thanks to its success in supplying the world's AI chipsets with the most advanced high-bandwidth memory. But the competition is not just in the top-tier segment. Chinese firms are also eating away at Samsung's share in the legacy chips segment as well. But let's get more perspective on this and the outlook for Samsung's stock performance as well. Joining us from San Francisco is Mehdi Hosseini, Senior Equity Research Analyst at Susquehanna. So, Mehdi, I mean, you are one of the few analysts out there that holds a hold or a neutral rating on Samsung. But what informs your thinking about that?
Yes, thanks for having me on the program. I've been covering Samsung for more than a decade. I would say, or I would summarize the challenges that Samsung is facing as structural with the company. They took their eyes off the core gem, which is semiconductor memory. And the problems go back to 5-6 years ago. It didn't happen just in 23 when AI started to become a growth driver. They have stopped innovating, especially with their core DRAM business, and I don't think these issues are going to go away near term. The best scenario that I could see is Samsung be able to qualify for HBM4E, which is not going to go into production until late 26, early 27.
What is interesting, though, is that we've actually seen Samsung sort of starting to recover over the past few weeks even, especially when you compare it to performance of SK Hynix or Micron. I think we've got a chart that can show that. Why, then, do you think that investors are getting a little bit more optimistic on the outlook for Samsung with HBM in particular?
Well, there are two things. First, we went through the same kind of scenario earlier this year where investors were hoping that Samsung would be able to qualify at NVIDIA for HBM3E and HBM4. That didn't materialize. And now their operating margin for the June quarter that was released a couple of weeks ago disappointed. So investors are looking at a very low base in Q2. And of course, there's going to be a recovery. But to put things in perspective, when I look at my estimates for SK Hynix, I show about a 2 to 3 times growth in earning per share in 2026 versus the prior peak of 2022. When I look at Samsung, my earning estimate for Samsung is actually 25% below the prior peak. So yes, there is a recovery off of a lower base, but I don't see anything exciting about the earning power, especially looking into next year, that would get me excited.
Mehdi, but if the thing is about catching up to these latest technologies and to SK Hynix, how much time can Samsung buy by performing well in other segments? This is a huge business, of course, doing well in mobile image sensors as well.
Right. Well, it was semiconductor that enabled Samsung to become a leading smartphone vendor a decade ago. And now that mobile business unit is able to go compete, they don't have the right components made internally. I think one of the solutions that they could contemplate is to let mobile business unit procure more components from third-party vendor. I think the problem with DRAM, and pretty soon you're also going to hear the same problem with NAND, is back to basics. They failed with their 1-alpha DRAM design, and that flawed design has bleeded into 1B and 1C. And you cannot just put a Band-Aid on it. So they have to go to basic, they have to fix the DRAM, they have to fix the NAND, and then that will be a base foundation for a recovery in Samsung. And I still don't see anything that would convince me they have been able to fix these engineering issues, and the Band-Aid is not going to work.
And what do you think about then some of the more legacy chip competitors, especially from China? Is that a risk to Samsung's margins and also its capacity to put money toward R&D for those more high-value activities?
Of course. And those Chinese competitors don't have the equipment that the Samsung has, and they're catching up. What is amazing with CXMT, they didn't even exist 5 years ago, and now they have become very competitive with DDR4, which is a legacy DRAM. When you look at YMTC, Chinese 3D NAND manufacturer, they're actually able to compete against Samsung, and they have a better design for more for 3D NAND that more than 200 layer. They're actually leading Samsung in the design of a 200-plus 3D NAND. So the competition is catching up, and I think the problem with Samsung is more of a corporate level. I think if there were to be more of a COO that would look at each business unit and to be able to keep to hold each business unit responsible, that's another way to try to fix it. And there is no short-term solution. They have to go back to engineering. They have to excite their internal R&D team. I don't see any excitement among their engineers. So they have to inspire confidence. They have to inspire innovation. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight.
Mehdi Hosseini, really great insights as always, Senior Equity Research Analyst at Susquehanna. And we'll have more on Samsung coming up on Bloomberg Tech Asia. We explore its SmartThings ecosystem as the company pushes to turn everyday homes into intelligent, adapting living spaces. A closer look next. This is Bloomberg. Welcome back. Samsung is now trying to better connect the 500 million devices it sells every year. With AI at the core, it's hoping to turn everyday homes into intelligent, responsive spaces. We spoke with Samsung's EVP and head of SmartThings, Jaeyeon Jung, and asked why growing this ecosystem is so crucial.
We care about whole home experience, and for that, we need not only Samsung products like TVs and appliances and mobile products, but we also need lightings and others like cameras and stuff. Because with all those together, we can provide really great experience to our customers.
Samsung has many partners when it comes to connecting these devices, though it's not only about Samsung products.
Yes, so we have over 380 works with SmartThings partner brands, and thousands of their products can be connected to the SmartThings platform so that our users can have great smart home experiences. And not only that, we are working very closely with many industry leaders on this IoT standardization effort called Matter. And so any Matter products then can be also connected to the SmartThings platform so that users can have, like mix and match of smart home products. for the best experience.
For the best experience,
Right.
not only for your existing users, but also you're trying to attain new users through this. How does Samsung measure the growth in this segment?
With this matter and many of these industry partners making great smart home products, we see the market grow by like 2x every year. And with those and our ecosystem partners, we grow our user base. So as of today, we have over 400 million registered users for the SmartThings service, and that number grows year by year.
What are your brightest markets at this point?
So, obviously the U.S. has the biggest market for us, and followed by Korea and many of the European countries like UK and Germany and such. The Indian market also, a lot of people and young couples, they need some way to also take care of their home, and their use of this home camera is growing very rapidly there. And also, with this, advancement of technology, like devices and these connected products, people are, and then with the AI technology, people are it's very natural for them to adapt these new technologies, and especially in the emerging market, because, the first products they experience, they're already smart products. And so the barrier to sort of entry is, I think, is even lower there.
Samsung expects artificial intelligence to keep growing its ecosystem and even re-energize more mature markets.
Some people are saying that smartphone market is saturated. Maybe there is a need for the new kind of device to replace the smartphone. I don't necessarily agree with that kind of that claim. It's not just about smartphones anymore. I think we do have a whole range of devices, like we call those as eco devices around the smartphones, and then like wearables such as watches and earbuds, and new computing devices, tablets and Note PC. And then when these devices work together, I think there will be a synergy in terms of providing the better experience to the consumers, but also when this not only smartphone actually market increase or they have a solid growth, but these eco devices actually have also solid growth. So I think from the mobile industry point of view or market point of view, we strongly believe that the market will continue to increase, continue to grow, and also the importance of smartphone is going to be more than rather than less. And the reason why I'm saying is that it's because of AI.
That's it for this episode of Bloomberg Tech Asia. Tune in again next month and on Bloomberg.com and YouTube.